The volume's really low on my end.
Can you hear me now?
I mean, I can hear you, but it's like super low. I'm not sure why.
Weird.
Check the volume icon in the top left. Sometimes if you have that clicked, it lowers it.
Yeah, I'm using my phone and my volume is all the way up.
If you still click on the screen, like if you're trying to mute yourself.
All right, we are live on Facebook. So we are ready to roll whenever you are, Sergeant Davis.
All right, all right. Welcome everybody to the first 5-6 dynamic fitness panel. So hopefully this is one of many if we get some good reviews from it. What we want to do is we want to share fitness to everybody out there. And during this whole COVID-19 time, a lot of people are neglecting themselves because they're so busy with work and everything going on. So what we ask is anybody that's on the Zoom call, please put your stuff on mic or mute, sorry, put your mic on mute. And then from there, if you have any questions, please go to the bottom and just type it in the comment section and we'll get to those questions. We have an exceptional panel for you all. A lot of knowledge and experience and different training strategies. I think you're going to gain a lot from this brief and hopefully bring it to your workplace, to the people you work with, to your personal goals and what you're trying to achieve out there. And I hope you all go and do great things from that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going ahead and pass it over to our moderator today, Technical Sergeant Minor. If you want to take the floor, he's going to moderate and he's going to introduce the rest of the panel and we'll get rocking and rolling.
All right, Sergeant Davis, I appreciate it. My name is Technical Sergeant Minor. I am a special warfare recruiter in the Fort Lauderdale, West Palm Beach area. I live in Miami. Been in the Air Force a little over 16 years now, originally from Blacksburg, Virginia. A little background on me as far as fitness goes. I'm an NPC national qualifier in classic physique. I've always been active in fitness. I grew up surfing and just being outdoors is, kind of what I like to do. I apologize for the noise. My dog was kind of getting out of line, so I apologize for that. I own my own fitness business. It's called Do It Anyway Fitness, doing life coaching and just fitness for everybody all around. So that's a little bit about me. I want to start just going around the room from some of the other people on our panel. They can talk about themselves, a little bit of their background, where they come from, and then we can start asking some questions and start going around. So first, I want to pass it off to Senior Master Sergeant Lear. If you're out there, and maybe just tell everybody a little bit about yourself. Senior Master Sergeant Lear, are you out there?
So he might be on another conference call real quick. He'll be back in a few minutes if you want to go to somebody else.
Okay. Master Sergeant Pough, are you on here?
Yes, I'm on here.
There she is.
All right, I start. I am Master Sergeant Pough. I have been in the Air Force now for 16 years. My husband is active duty. He's a recruiter as well as everybody with the 5-6 that put this on. We have 3 kids together. They are ages 7, 3, and 2. So they keep me rather busy. I will be graduating next month with my degree in exercise science and then going after my personal training certification here shortly after that. I have about 6 years of competing. I have my natural pro status as an IPE pro. I compete actively in the NPC, and I'm recently switched over to WBFF, where due to COVID, I did my first virtual show here this past June where I came in 3rd. So that's just a little about me. Oh, and I am currently a paralegal staying at Fort Dix. That's all.
Outstanding, outstanding. Next, I want to throw it out to Master Sergeant Shamblin, if you're on here.
Hey, good morning, everyone. Well, morning for me. I'm out here on the West Coast. Master Sergeant Randy Chamblin. I am a flight chief out here in San Diego, California. A little bit about myself. I've been in for a little over 18 years now, been in the recruiting world a little over 8. What I bring to the panel here is I am the non-professional of the group. I use fitness as a very good stress relief, also as, obviously Air Force standards to keep myself and maintain what I need to. I am a CrossFit level 1 certified coach, and then also with some personal training background. I started getting into fitness when I was on the bag as an SW recruiter way back when, and it kind of stuck with me ever since. With the fitness stuff that we do out in our area here, especially in sunny San Diego, it's a lot more outdoors. So I can give a lot of good tips with what to do outside with very little equipment, especially now that gyms are closed. And then obviously taking that to the next step of how to use it for your everyday life to maintain your fitness standard, but also as a stress relief, let things go from your mind and kind of use that the mental aspect as well. That's me.
Outstanding. And we got 2 more. Sergeant Suarez, are you on here?
Oh yeah, here I am. How's it going, guys?
There he is.
Staff Sergeant Suarez, Jay Suarez, TAC P for 7.5 years. So my background is more so the tactical athlete, how it relates to training for the job that you're going to end up doing. So relative strength, tactical speed, training to just become proficient in carrying rucksacks, moving masses across long distances and such forth. So that's what I'm bringing to the table, just some deployment history and how to train to be successful at your primary job.
My man, thanks. And Mr. Dan Campos, are you on here? You missing somebody? All right. All right.
Yeah, it
So,
says he's logged in. Sorry.
Do what?
Says he's logged in, but his mute's off. I don't know if he walked away, but yeah, we'll come back to him too if you want to keep rolling.
Can you guys hear me?
Oh, there he is.
Oh yeah. All right. It was muted. Sorry about that. First off, thank you guys for the opportunity. I'm excited to share some knowledge with you guys. My name is Dan Campos. I own and operate Dan Campos Fitness here in Philly. We're primarily a personal training gym, a powerlifting gym, and also a group training facility. I'm affiliated with the USA Powerlifting. I'm also a natural bodybuilder. I have been now since 2005. So I think, I'd like to primarily talk about making the most efficient workouts and getting the most out of body weight and kind of banded and limited equipment exercise. So I'm excited to share with the panel kind of the ideas that I have.
Sounds good. All right. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to throw a couple questions around the panel, just kind of get the, try to get the comfort around the campfire, I guess, if you will. And, I'm just going to ask a couple questions around the panel. And then after that, we're going to open this up so that everybody watching, you guys, throw your questions out there. This is definitely just an open forum. So everybody has their own, areas that they're strong in, but everybody has their different reasons why. So there's definitely a lot of different ways that we can relate to the same thing, but coming from a different side. So the first question I'm going to throw out there is, I'm going to throw this out there for Master Sergeant Pough. You talk about how much you're in school and, being a mom and family and everything else. How do you balance your fitness life and your work life together?
So being a paralegal has taught me that everything is about timing and schedule. So I am a very strict schedule person. And my biggest goal for even with me competing in my fitness goals is to keep a minimum impact to my family. So anything that I'm doing, I try to have the least amount of impact on my husband and my kids. So sometimes, especially when I'm competing, I sacrifice a little sleep for myself. So it's instead of instead of trying to squeeze my workouts in when my family is awake, a lot of times I do it when they're asleep. So my days would start probably at 4:30 in the morning. And I would literally go to the gym. And by the time I'm coming home from the gym, they're waking up to get ready to get the day started. And then I would shower, help get the kids ready, they go to work. And I have a set time that my kids go to bed. And once they're asleep, that's when I do homework. And I had like a strict bedtime. So everything was like just a schedule for me. So I think like a lot of people, they always say like, I don't have the time for it. You kind of do, because I used to make time you can make time to sit up and watch TV or your shows. And then me, like I go, like if you got time to go to the bar and drink, you got time to work out. And then it doesn't have to be super long workouts. My workouts on a long day, maybe hour 15 to hour 30 minutes, and that's it.
Outstanding. We're gonna take a step back real fast. Senior Master Sergeant Lear is back with us, so I'm gonna allow him to hop on here real quick. Tell us about himself, because I know that he does a lot of really cool stuff. So, Senior Master Sergeant Lear, are you on here?
Yep. What's going on? Hey, appreciate the intro. Yeah, so I got a thunderstorm moving in. So if you hear some thunder and lightning, then I apologize. But as far as me, Senior Master Sergeant Lear, been in the Air Force for a little over 19 years now. Started powerlifting, so that's kind of my thing now. I grew up wrestled a few years into the Air Force, nothing super competitive, just some old man tournaments, but I still wanted to keep that competitive edge. Was aircraft structural maintenance when I first came into the Air Force, did that for 7 years before I transitioned to become a recruiter back in 2008. And then did that for 4 years up in New York, moved out to be a flight chief over into Illinois, and I kind of caught the powerlifting bug out there. A individual had seen me deadlifting. I learned how to deadlift when I was over in the desert back in 2005. I deployed, and a guy, some little tiny guy, about 120 pounds. I was about 140 pounds, and the guy just destroyed me in every type of lift and I used to think I was strong. So I kind of hooked up with him. He taught me the ropes of powerlifting, but really didn't understand it as a powerlifting movement other than just moving heavy weight, and came back to the States. And then once I was a flight chief out, fast forward to 2012, I was really missing the camaraderie, questioning whether or not, if staying in recruiting was my thing. Even though now they made me a flight chief, but the big piece was I was missing the camaraderie and just competition overall. And so I ended up finding my passion again through lifting, and that a guy happened to see me deadlifting, and I was deadlifting, I don't know, at the time maybe 500 and something pounds, but I was only weighing about $170 something, and he's just like, oh, you're lifting the Illinois state record. And I didn't know what that meant other than, some maybe some collegiate type thing. And I started researching powerlifting, really watching YouTube. And I became kind of a YouTube prodigy. I studied guys like Dan Green, the Lily Bridges, a lot of these individuals, and just mimicked them, read a lot of magazines on powerlifting and did a lot of research, but kind of fell in love with that. That was kind of my therapy, and I missed it. But from there, that kind of grew. That was in 2012, when I got into that. I didn't become competitive until 2014, and entered my first competition on Father's Day, did very well in that, set some records, and then I joined the Air Force powerlifting team, which I know I've gotten a few inquiries about that through email. So I'm not sure if any of you guys are on here or girls are on here that were asking about those things. But as far as lifting wise, that team requires, it's one time a year, requires you to beat the next guy out that's in that weight class, and it's ran by retired Chief Saunders, and he runs it for USAPL. So there's opportunities to get on that. I know Lieutenant Colonel Matt Sowards runs that as well, along with him, for the USAPL powerlifting military chair for all branches of service. So if you're interested in stuff like that, hit me up, and I can get you some numbers and put you in contact with people. But that only runs once a year, and that's in the March timeframe. I'm not quite sure where it's going to be held this year, but fast forward through that, I kind of gained notoriety through USPA back in 2016 and competed on the, which was one of the World Cup circuits out that came through Utah, and lifted on that and broke the deadlift world record out there at 181 pounds. I think I weighed in at 179 or whatnot, but pulled 700. Clearly guys are beating that now. Guys and girls are stronger than hell just over the last 3 or 4 years. And powerlifting's taken off. Fitness in general has just taken off as many of you guys, many of the people on this panel have brought up. So I won't touch on anything else. I know I'm long-winded, so I'll turn it back over to you guys. That way you guys can ask questions and we can provide some answers for you. But thanks for having me on.
Yes, Senior Master Sergeant Lear is a monster. So when he starts talking about some of the weights that he lifts, I have nothing to do with that. That's it's too much for me. So we're going to throw a couple more questions out here, and then we're just going to kind of open it up to everybody else. I'm going to throw this one out there to Sergeant Suarez. How did fitness help you, not only personally, but professionally, seeing how you are an operator and just in your life? So if you can elaborate for that with us.
Awesome. Yeah. So actually, this is a very interesting story. So I actually only started working out around 2010, actually. So a year right before I walked into the recruiter's office, I had the pleasure of hanging out with some friends, and they were like, "Hey man, have you ever heard of CrossFit?" And I was like, "I haven't. What is it?" And the first day was by far the worst day of my entire life. And that's pretty much where the addiction started, where I kind of enjoy torturing myself. And fitness has just kind of led me down, like personally. It's the biggest stress relief of my entire life. My wife sometimes will ask me, "Hey, have you worked out today?" Because she can kind of sort of tell if my stress levels start rising there a little bit. And then professionally, like being a TAC P, having done this for 7+ years now, it's part of my job. Like I get paid to work out every day. Like that's what I try and tell applicants as well now that I'm recruiting. If you are going to make this investment in yourself, working out has to become part of this daily thing that you do, whether it's stretching, whether it's active recovery. Professionally, I think it's one of those things where it builds camaraderie among a flight, a team, whether it's Army, whether it's Air Force, Marines. It just brings everyone together, and I think it's a good way to create a common spirit de corps there, where it really brings everyone together, where you guys can share a common thing and create that bond. For me personally, like I've been on a few different teams, and the one thing that all of us always have in common, it's fitness. So yeah, professionally, I think having a strong emphasis on staying in shape has always been priority number one.
Outstanding. Yeah, that's definitely why I directed that one to you, brother.
Yeah, I appreciate that
one. This one I'm gonna ask a couple more, and then we'll open it up. I want to get multiple answers on this one. Mr. Campos, if you can, Senior Master Sergeant Lear, and Master Sergeant Pough, and Master Sergeant Shamblin, if you will. How important is setting goals, not only in fitness, but just in life in general? And can you share some of your goal setting tools? And can you give some examples of goals that you have set for yourself?
I mean, I guess I'll go first. One thing that we try to always do here at the gym, and something that I try to do personally and professionally, is that set small goals. One thing that I tell all my clients is if we try to just work out mindlessly, like if we have no game plan, then it's just better for us just to create a program. So that's the reason why we try to create 4-week, 8-week, 12-week programs here, so that we do have a beginning goal, a middle goal, and an end goal. That's always something that we try to do here at my work as well. We try to have a weekly meeting. We try to make sure that we set goals in the beginning of the week that we're going to be able to get at the end of the week. So I feel that if you just come here to the gym and you're just going to work out without a game plan, it's going to be very tough for you to progress. Same way that, you know, with our business here, if we have no idea what we're going to do in January, what we're planning to do in March, and so on, then I think it's going to make it tougher. So I just think planning ahead is just going to make it easier, just to make sure that you're progressing properly. And that way you can kind of assess in the middle, you know, in the end, to make sure that you're actually getting somewhere. And if you feel like you're not getting to your goal, then you can kind of adjust and then kind of move on from there. So I just think goal setting and then kind of, you know, workout wise, professionally, personally, is just going to be kind of the way to go, because you can get better results that way.
Yeah, and I'll jump in there too. I like what Dan kind of pointed to is those small goals, setting small things that you can achieve daily. For me, I like to think of myself as a very disciplined person now. I wasn't always, and I didn't really ever understand it, but things that you can do first thing in the morning, and like Master Sergeant, I think is it Pough or Pough? I can't, I'm sorry if I messed up your name,
Pough.
but yeah, what is it?
Pew.
Pough. Okay. Going back, I'm on the same regimented schedule as she is. There's two big words that, you know, kind of define me as discipline and sacrifice. And, you know, a lot of those, you know, are words that we throw around in the military, but a lot of us don't practice it, right? In certain aspects of our life, we do, but the follow through is the big part. So for me, you know, it kind of going back to that saying is, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time, right? So we got this big, a lot of people call them BHAGs, big, hairy, audacious goals, right? In business. A lot of these is you got to have small milestones that you're reaching. You know, for me, no kidding, I will make the bed with my wife in the bed every morning when I get up. So there's something that I'm accomplishing. And that comes from just one of those inspirational gold cast messages that I've seen on Facebook. You know, make your bed in the morning, sets the stage for the rest of the day. But me getting up at 4:05 every single morning, that's the accomplishment. Just stand up. You know, I set the phone out in the kitchen, and I make myself get up. And of course, I have a gym at home, so I walk right out to the garage and I get to grinding, right? So I knew that if I have to get in my car, if I create extra challenges or obstacles in my way to reach my goal, it's going to be much more difficult for me to reach that. So I started removing them. I knew becoming a very qualified professional type athlete, I needed to make, you know, the transition smooth and minimize excuses. And that was, instead of, you know, I invested $5,000 in worth of gym equipment, and it travels with me. I have a traveling gym, you know, no matter where I PCS. So going back to those small goals, this is, this isn't gloating. This is because I know there's a lot of you guys that are out there. It took me 19 years to finish a master's degree, right? But I say that because, you know, I'm not, you know, lifting, that's my therapy, right? That's part of my lifestyle. I enjoy it. I'm never going to become rich at it. But there's things, you know, when you talk about your life and you talk about, you know, people talk about investing, people talk about buying property, buying stocks, and all these things to set them up for success in the future. But one of the things a lot of people don't do is, you know, invest into themselves, which is making a small deposit into your health and wellness, making a small deposit into your education. And that could be reading 10 minutes a day. But for me, it was starting this master's degree, right? So rewind 18 months ago, and I was a pro soup at the time. And, you know, I talked to a bunch of people, a lot of peers, and they're like, there's no time for it. And well, I was just like, well, I make time for lifting and a lot of other priorities. Why can't I make time for this degree and still do well at everything else that I do? It comes down to that sacrifice, right? It's my kids have never seen me work out. They don't know why I'm strong. They're never awake. They don't wake up till 6. They get up early. They don't get up till 6:30, but I'm done lifting by 6:15, right? They've never seen me do homework. They're like, why are you so tired, Dad? And it's just like, well, when you guys go to bed, I'm doing homework, right? So We put them to bed at 8:30 and I'm doing homework till 11 o'clock at night, or on my days off from school or from working out on those rest days. I still get up at 4:05, but I'm doing homework. And I can tell anybody who's out there that's struggling is the hardest part is starting, right? Starting anything. That is the hardest part. Once you start, don't stop, because then it just compounds and it just eventually you're reaching small goals and you're finally going to reach that end goal. But that was with me. When I enrolled into my master's program, I kid you not, it was the night before classes started. I told my wife it was 9:30. I couldn't sleep. I was stressed out. I walked downstairs to cancel my class. It's a good thing. And I struggle with getting up at 4:05 every single morning. It's not easy. It has to be deliberate. But with that degree program, I woke up to cancel that, and I went down there, and unfortunately I would have had to pay back all $1,300. So I guess I changed my mind. That was the difference. I walked back upstairs. I was happy. And my wife said, "Do you feel better that you canceled?" And I was just like, "I actually didn't, but yes, I do feel better." She's like, "Why do you feel better?" I was like, "I'm taking the class. I don't have a choice. I can't control it no more." So I changed my mind. So that's kind of how I operate. I'm a super mental lifter. If I think I can, I will. And even if I fail at a lift that I expected to hit, I consider that a success because I tried. So there's just different things that, it's a mental state for me. For some people, and I know probably for Dan as well, and for a lot of fitness people out there, a lot of things are mental. And once you can conquer your mind, literally nothing is impossible.
And then I'll chime in on that. So what I always say is you really want to look for your goals, but don't be afraid of a setback. So with the setback in itself, you're going to set goals that you may not accomplish in the time frame that you want, or a weight that you want, or in a standard that you're looking to achieve. Don't be afraid to change those goals with what you need. I know for myself, especially starting out, I would set goals like I want to do my 1.5 miles in a certain time. So I would do the research on how do I get my time down to whatever I was trying to achieve. So with distance running, I would say, okay, well, I want to average a 8.5 minute mile for 5 or 6 miles. And then I get done, and then all of a sudden it's just under 9. Well, I'm still running sub 9-minute miles. Now, it's not exactly a marathon runner's pace, but for your average runner, that's pretty good pace. So don't be afraid to take that setback.
And I'll just chime in real quick on the goals. I think everybody goals is different. And so when I initially came in the military, I was missile maintenance. So it's a male dominated career field. I was probably one of the only females, and there's a lot of labor behind it. And so when you ended up on a team, it's sad to say nobody wanted the female, because they was like, "Oh, we'll have to do the extra weight because you couldn't pull the equipment out of the missile silo." So what started for me, how I didn't grow up playing sports and lifting weights, did none of that. I was just the regular person, never lifted weights, anything. So I got with a trainer, and I was like, I don't want to be the weak link. So that's how it started for me. So I got a trainer and I started lifting, because I was like, I need to carry my weight. I don't want nobody to call me the weak link. And then I started lifting, and I was like, I kind of like these muscles. So, some years go by, and then I deployed, and then I lost a lot of weight, and then I saw even more muscle. And I ran 2 half marathons while I was deployed. And so it started off to just minor, just me not wanting to be the weak link at work. And it blossomed into something bigger for me. So my goals may never be what somebody else wants. I work with airmen who's basically, their basic thing is just, I want to be fast on my PT test, or I never scored a 90 and I want to at least score a 90. So I feel like for somebody like me who's in the military and dealing with all these different things, it's kind of like I have to help you reach your goals. I know I don't have to, but it's one of those things. If I got the skill and the knowledge to help you, then I am going to help you. And it's just, like I said, even just something minor like that, just minor goal. I want to be quick, like Randy said, I want to be fast on my PT test. And you start there, and you never know what it's going to blossom into. It could be something more. Mine started with me just wanting to be stronger and not being a weak link. And now I'm in school about to graduate for exercise science, personal trainer, and I compete. So if you ask my husband, is this the same person he met way back in the maintainer days? He would tell you no, because there was no muscle when he met me, and now it's a completely different person.
Good stuff. All right, so I'm gonna open it up to the floor. Anybody who has questions out there, feel free to ask anybody on the panel. If anybody on the panel has to ask questions to someone else on the panel, you're more than welcome to. So go.
Yeah, so we have one in the comments. So this is one for Master Sergeant Pough. After your military career, do you plan on taking your fitness journey to another level, whether it's educational, small business, or just competing in another class?
After the military, my ultimate goal is to go to school for physical therapy. It's just something about having doctor in front of my name that I just really want. So that's that's my ultimate goal. But I do want my own gym. I do want to help people. I think the focus for the audience that I would like to capture would be namely women, but I get a lot of women a lot of times for recovering after kids. A lot of us women, we tend to think that, oh, babies destroy your body, you can't get your body back. And it's just like, and some, things do change, but you most definitely can. And then I have a strong place in my heart for student athletes. So kids and fitness and their metabolism and helping them to learn health and wellness and fitness just at an early age to carry over into adulthood. Those are my priorities. I most definitely will be doing this when I get out the military, and I most definitely will be starting this while I'm in the military.
Yeah. Got any more questions out there?
Awesome. I have one for Dan. So Dan, what made you want to start your own gym, and what successes did you do to kind of get it rolling?
I think the tipping point for me is I worked for a corporate gym from 2005 to 2009, and I think I just didn't like some of the I don't want to say some of the rules, but some of the boundaries that they had, and some of the it was tough for each trainer to become an individual. We were all just trainers of the same facility. So I think there were things that I wanted to change. I think there were ideas that I had that at the time in 2009 weren't very open. Like they, at least from a training perspective, I think in 2009, multi-planing or kind of multi-planar training became a thing. So that I kind of wanted to utilize that a little bit more. So I think, my first step was to find a mom and pop gym that would allow me to kind of subcontract from them. So that was my first step. From there, as I saw my clientele grow, then, I had to make the decision, do I want to continue traveling, or will it make more sense for me to find a spot and then really just focus on that? And again, kind of going back to those small goals and, kind of saying, if I can write down 30 clients right now, that's going to be able to cover what I need to, and then kind of make everything work. So, that was kind of how it all started. It's kind of evolved since then. It's a gym that really evolves almost every month because there's new ideas, there's new things that come from it. But the general idea was just kind of making that move to kind of be a little bit more of an individual and not kind of just be bound to the kind of the chain gym atmosphere. So I thought going on my own could make a bigger difference.
Awesome. Cool. So we got two more questions, then we got to get things rolling. But so the next question is, any mental tips or tricks to keep fitness in your routine and keep yourself going and not stop? It seems like get on a roll, but keep getting interrupted with other life things. So any mental tips somebody can go over?
I'll say something real quick. When I'm doing coaching and things like that for individuals, they always, they talk about that life factor that comes in. They can't do it. For me, when it comes to, setting goals and things of that nature, everything has to have a balance. Okay. It's got to be, you as far as mentally and spiritually and physically being balanced, your wife, your family, your friends, everything else. There has to be a plane. When it comes to, having things interrupt, your routines and things like that, sometimes life just happens. But for the most part, time management is so important. And no matter where you are in your life, no matter what you've got going on, it is so vitally important that you take at least an hour every day just for yourself. There's nothing wrong with being, you can call it selfish, but just taking that hour just for yourself. That's all you need. That's all you need. And it doesn't have to be going to the gym. It doesn't have to be, doing CrossFit or whatever. If it's just even going for a walk, putting some music on, an audio book, some motivational speaking, whatever it may be, just going on a walk, given that hour of time for you. It's vital. It's very important, and you just got to block off that time. Sometimes it's, an hour at night. Sometimes it's getting up that extra hour in the morning. But, when you take that time for yourself, it'll definitely, it builds you as far as your character and your happiness and things like that.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'll touch on that real quick. Kind of piggyback on Sergeant Minor, and that's the truth. With me, it was the same thing. I was the individual that, being a flight chief and recruiting, everything became, everything. My recruiters became my priority, and their problems became my priority, right? So when you're sitting in a position like that, and of course this goes for really any position that you're in, right? Because I know, like Dan, even though he's not in the service, his clients become his priority when they're on the clock, and he's thinking about them when they're not. And the same thing with the recruiters. No matter who you're putting in or the leads that you're scrubbing through, those become the priority at the time. And we're more accessible now, as you guys have seen, now that we've been working from home and doing this hybrid model of work. I think we work harder and the stress is a little bit higher because we're accessible all the time. And so I had to figure it out. And just like Messer and Pough said, there are times when people want to be left alone and don't want to pick up the phone and don't want to be on the clock. And those are the sacrificing hours, right? Those are the hours that most people are not willing to, count as time for themselves because they either want to be sleeping or doing other things that are priority to them. So for me, there is nobody awake that wants to talk to you at 4 a.m. Between 4 and 6 a.m, I promise, nobody will bother you between those times. In the evening, a lot of people, there's a lot of night owls and people will be up. People are sending emails between 9 o'clock and 2 o'clock in the morning for whatever reason. But between 4 and 6 o'clock in the morning, that's where I found out was basically my witching hour. That's when I could get my goals. I could put me first. I didn't have to deal with distractions, and I was able to accomplish a lot of things. And to go along with that, just kind of, because I seen the next comment on there too. Don't be afraid of failure. I can tell you right now, if I had to label myself outside of sacrifice and discipline, I'm a product of failure. I am not afraid to put myself out there and fail or be humiliated, because the difference between me and the next person that wasn't willing to try is I got to learn, right? When that other individual, whether or not they learned from me by watching me fail, they will still not understand what it took to get to that failure and then overcome that failure. So if you're out there and you're trying to figure out, and if you're crippled by failure, and I've been watching my son a lot lately, I've been studying a lot of his dynamic and the way his mental how he processes things. And I don't know if it's this generation or not, but if he thinks he's going to fail, he won't even try. And I don't know, for me, I can't comprehend that. I'm like, dude, it's throwing a ball through a hole. Just throw the ball. If you miss, throw another one. I mean, simple things like that. But if you're the type of individual that's crippled by fear of failure, that's the first step to get over, is stop. Especially if there's not life or limb or anything involved there. Try, fail, get back up, and do it again.
Awesome stuff. So we have a recruiting question. So what advice do you all have for a recruiter who during this time, they might necessarily not have a gym access? So what can you do during this time, especially if you are already a big part of fitness was already a big part of your life?
I'll tackle that one here real quick.
Okay.
So myself, this is one of my things. In recruiting world as a flight chief, I had more time access to a gym than most. And for me, I was
Losing you.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yeah, there you go.
Okay. So as a recruiter out here in Southern California, doing 2-a-days, I was essentially running in the morning, and then I was lifting at the gym in the evening, or doing my CrossFit workouts in the evening. And unfortunately, here in California, things have been shut down since about March. So I found myself having to be innovative on what I was doing. Obviously, we can all still run, do calisthenics, a lot of body weight stuff outside. I use things like park benches, for step ups, for arm dips. You have access to pull-up bars or something that you can use as a pull-up bar. And if you can't do pull-ups, you can do assisted pull-ups yourself by standing on something and, decreasing your body weight as much as you need to do certain exercises. And then obviously all the calisthenics that we do, in the Air Force through basic training. We didn't lift any weights in basic training. So you can do a lot of that stuff. Also good tools that I've kind of come across over the time is things like sandbags. So I have these fitness sandbags that I found on Amazon that I purchased, and they go anywhere from 20 pounds to 120 pounds. And I use those for a lot of the higher intense workouts, things like body squats, curls with the heavier weights, things like that, military press overhead. So you can make it as tough as you really want. But there's no gym access where I'm at. And so far, so good. I'm still maintaining most muscle mass that I got going on over here. So it's not like Senior Lear, but it's making do.
Oh, you're killing it. So last question, do y'all have any recommendations for fitness apps, nutrition, or just training, or either? Anything?
My main app for training is more just tracking for me, because I track my weekly workouts, see how I can improve on the next workout. So the bodybuilding.com has a great app. Now, when I initially got into the bodybuilding app, it was free. So I think they kind of charge you now, but they even have like all these different kinds of workouts on there that you could get even from beginner to advanced. But I think like MyFitnessPal, you could track like workouts. I'm not sure. But if you're looking for something for nutrition that you could track your food for free, I use this app called My Plate app. And it allows me to so everything that you eat, it has a barcode majority of the time, unless it's some type of produce. So it allows you to even scan the barcode and put your food in it. That way you can easily track the amount of protein, carbs, and fats that you're getting in total calories. I think it's awesome. I've been using it probably for about 4 or 5 years now. I have no desire to really use anything else. I don't pay for the premium program because there's no need, but those are my suggestions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Go ahead, sir.
Yeah. All I was going to say is, they're not apps. I don't think he has one out yet, but he's a prior Air Force Academy grad. I don't think he ended up serving. I think he ended up electing not to. I think he got out in his junior year or whatnot. But Mike Tashir, he's if you're into powerlifting, you know who he is. But he has a website called Reactive Training Systems, RTS, and he has a dashboard on there that's super simple, very, intuitive on measuring velocity, things that you put in there. It is an awesome website, and you can track everything from there. If you're really looking at it, you don't even need to be serious, but it's also a log that you can keep as well. But it's RTS. Reactive Training Systems. That's a great site that I've used a lot. And then also, I like to keep things pretty simple and basic. That way I can stick to routines. So Candido training, 6-week strength training. I've recycled that program for probably the last 6 years of since I've started powerlifting, and I put new 1-rep maxes into that. It's a free program that he puts out there. He asks for donations. You can donate if you want, but he's a young kid that put this program out there, and he's got a squat program, but that is Candido headquarters, I think, CANDITO. But you can go in there, download the program. It goes right to your Excel and download Google Docs, and I track everything on my phone, and I've built hybrid models off of that based on my body type and styles. And I'm sure Dan Campos has got some stuff too. But those are the two systems I've used and have led me to great success.
Yeah. And in terms of I guess diet and nutrition, the RP diet has a good template. That's one that's really good to follow. I think with most of these apps, MyFitnessPal, I think the main thing to do is the program that you find, just stick with it, rather than going from one app to another and trying to find differences. I mean, it's great to make hybrid. I mean, that's eventually what you do to make it personalized. But the program that you find, if you're going to run your 6-week program, run it. I mean, and then kind of make your adjustments. Like, don't jump from one program to the next just because it's not working the first week or you just don't like it. But as far as nutrition apps is definitely that's definitely a good one. RP Nutrition is definitely going to be a good one. There's going to be free templates on there, and like anything else, there's just like a paid app. I think Lane Norton has one as well. I can't think of the name right now, but also if you just Google it, those are things just to make it simple, just to make it trackable. And those are going to be very important, because then you'll be able to track your progress just like you would with your training. So if you can track your nutrition and your training, then you're going to make better goals that way.
Yeah, and for running, I use Strava. So you can log running, swimming, biking, and personalized workouts. You can also add friends like any other social media. And then I also use just the activity app with Apple, and the Nike app with some of the Nike shoes and the wristbands that they have. The reason I like those is you can add people to your activity, so that way you guys can essentially keep each other accountable. So I have my entire flight. We all use the Strava app for activities. So every flight mate I have on here, we keep track of each other, of when we're running, when we're biking, when you're working out, going for a hike. And then we call each other out when we don't. So it keeps each other accountable. You can have a little bit internal competition. So it kind of keeps you a little bit on your toes in that aspect, but it's very good to log your mileage for anything that you're doing outside movement wise. Yeah, that's what I use.
Nice. So we got to get wrapping up. So what I want to do is everybody just throw a quick bit of knowledge out for the, all the followers out there. And then from there, we'll do a little closing and get rocking and rolling.
I can start real quick. My I guess quick knowledge is life always happens. Something's always going to happen to derail your goals. All you got to do is just focus, just double down and fix it, even if you fall off for a little bit. So you could be going good for a week and then you fall off for a couple days. You just got to eat that and say, I fell off these couple days and I'm gonna get right back on it. That don't mean stay off the train. So the biggest thing is life happen, set small goals, set big goals, and knock them out. And if you don't know how to reach your goals, get somebody that can help you reach your goals safely and how you want to do it.
Nice.
Yeah, that's actually a good point. I think sometimes people like to be stubborn and just kind of conquer things on their own. I think if you can find a professional, if you can find someone that knows more than you and who has already been successful in that area, just go for it. So I think that's a great point. Being consistent, I would say that the number one thing is just find a way to be consistent. You can make your goal over a 12-month period. You don't have to shorten it. Just be consistent with it. And even if you kind of mess up here and there, just as long as you're kind of consistent with it, you're still going to get to it. You're still going to be able to reach your goals. So I think consistency is going to be, I guess, probably the number one thing that I would, suggest. Just be consistent and just keep moving forward.
Yep. And I'll add to that one last thing, because I've seen it going on in the comments with Chief O'Donnell and stuff. But along with that consistency is setbacks are inevitable. There's going to be times when you're not 100%, when you're, when you're scheduled or programmed to do a certain weight or to accomplish a certain task, and you're going to come up short. And that's the time where, instead of looking at it, as a negative through a negative lens, look at it as an opportunity to overcome a challenge and push through some of that pain. Often, real quick, as far as pain, there is so much pain that I endure, and that many, and I know Master Pough and whoever's in the fitness and competing, there is a tremendous amount of pain that goes into lifting, discipline with the eating. It is uncomfortable. It sucks. And there's so much sacrifice that goes along with that. But I can tell you right now how that translates into my everyday life of how I execute my job, how I interact with my family, setting those, the way I'm disciplined and the way I control my emotions through lifting, just pays dividends on how I interact with individuals and perform my job on a daily basis, because all the pain has been left there on the bar or on my back and a scar or something like that. And I have nothing left to be upset about when I'm in front of my family or I'm trying to accomplish another goal. So, enjoy the pain, enjoy the suck, as they say, and just keep pressing forward.
I'll say figure out your why. Why do you want to accomplish what it is you're looking to do? If you know why, and you can determine that, whether it's to live a healthier lifestyle, whether it's to meet a weight goal or a fat loss, or to pass a PT test with a certain percentage, or to look better for your significant other, whatever your reason is, always remind yourself of what that reason is. And then when those times are tough, when you don't want to go for that jog, or you don't want to go lift weights early in the morning or late in the evening, or you're putting something else as a priority over yourself, then think about what that reason is of what you're trying to accomplish. And then that will oftentimes help you get out of your rut. That's what I do. That's what works for me.
So I wanted to add something to this real quick. I know we don't have too much time here, but I've had quite a few injuries, and fitness was my life before I came in the military. It was my life for a long time while I kept grunting it out, even though I had that injury. And after 2 back surgeries, I've still continued to stay fit, still wear the same uniforms I got from basic training. One of the things I haven't heard anybody say yet is keep it simple. If you haven't been working out for a while and you've been sitting at a desk living a sedentary lifestyle, you need to maybe pace yourself. If you're just getting back into fitness, consider your flexibility, consider your diet, but don't make heavy adjustments. Just get some motion, get moving, get started, and tier in your involvement. Because what I think a lot of us do, because we're competitive, or, we have these like visions of grandeur and what we're going to accomplish in a short period of time, we load up like we're at the buffet of fitness, and we're trying to fix our diet. We're trying to fix our mobility. We're trying to fix how we look. And then what we do is we inundate ourselves and then crush ourselves under the amount of like emotional weight that we're putting on ourselves to be successful in whatever the plan is that we have for our fitness. So I just want to say, keep it simple, have faith in yourself, and tier in the added improvements. Focus on the number one thing that you care most about at first, and then start tweaking the other stuff as you go.
Awesome. So we're going to have to go ahead and cut it short. We got to get off of here, but I just want to say thank you to everybody that came out, spent the time with us. Hopefully you learned something, you grew something. Just because the video was off doesn't mean your questions are done. If you have any questions, post on Facebook. We'll get those answers for you all. If you're a member of the Rising Six and the recruiting service, definitely, if you're not a member, come out, become a member. We're going to have a lot of cool stuff this year. We got a really cool panel next month going to come out. I wish we had more time to talk on it, but look out for the emails. And thank you all for coming out. It was a blessing to have you. Please
Real quick, for those who don't know, what's the Facebook page?
So it's on Quantico, or the Quarantines University's page. It's on the recruiting service pages. So I guess Quantico or Quarantine,
university is going to be the biggest one that most people are on right now. So definitely check it out there. All right, y'all take care. Thank y'all for coming.
Appreciate it, sir.
All right, guys. Thank you.
Thanks.